just like I have always done. But I will regret it, just like I have always regretted it. Velthar nodded. 2 weeks passed. The tension in the academy slowly decreased as other cadets got used to the humans again. Not friendly exactly, but no longer actively avoiding them. It was progress, even if it was small. Then the emergency alert sounded. Hyunwoo was in the training room with Bo-Ra when the lights shifted to red and the alarm echoed through the halls. All cadets were ordered to report to the main briefing hall immediately. No exceptions. The announcement said it 3 times, which meant something serious had happened. The briefing hall filled quickly. Cadets from all species gathered in their squad groups, talking nervously. The humans stuck together near the back. Hyunwoo counted heads to make sure everyone was present. All 7 accounted for. Admiral Kessedin entered the hall and everyone fell silent. The admiral was a Vexnil, a tall species with 4 arms and thick armor-like skin. Keston had been running the academy for 20 years and had never called an emergency briefing before. "I will be direct," the admiral said, voice amplified through the hall's speakers. 3 days ago, we had first contact with a new species. They call themselves the Krell. The contact did not go well. A display appeared behind the admiral showing debris in space. Hyunwoo recognized the design. Coalition diplomatic vessels. 3 of them reduced to scattered metal and bodies. The Krell attacked without warning, Keston continued. They destroyed our ships and ignored all attempts at communication. Initial reports suggest they are a hostile species with significant military capability. The Coalition Council has declared a state of emergency. The hall erupted in worried voices. The admiral waited for quiet before continuing. This is not a drill. This is not a training scenario. The Coalition is facing a real threat for the first time in 300 years. We need to prepare for the possibility of war. War. The word hung in the air like poison. Most of the cadets had never even considered it. The Coalition did not fight wars. They negotiated. They compromised. They found peaceful solutions. But the debris on the screen told a different story. All advanced cadets will have their training accelerated, the admiral said. We need officers ready for deployment as soon as possible. Your instructors will provide specific assignments. Dismissed. The hall emptied in chaos. Cadets rushed to find their instructors, to get more information, to understand what was happening. The humans moved together, forming a protective circle out of habit. This is bad, Haewon said quietly. Really bad. We knew this would happen eventually, Taemin said. The galaxy is a big place. Not everyone wants peace. Instructor Velthar found them in the hallway. The Quillarian looked shaken. Human cadets, come with me. We need to talk. They followed the instructor to a smaller briefing room. Inside, several other instructors were waiting, along with Admiral Keston. This was serious. The admiral spoke first. I will not waste time. The Coalition military is not prepared for this. Most of our forces have never seen combat. They are trained in theory but have no practical experience with lethal confrontation. Hyunwoo felt a weight settle in his stomach. He knew where this was going. Humans are different, Keston continued. Your species has extensive combat experience. Your military traditions go back thousands of years. Your people understand warfare in a way most Coalition species do not. You want us to fight, Sang-ho said. We want you to lead, the admiral corrected. Your squad will be given command positions immediately. You will help train other cadets in combat tactics. And yes, you will likely be deployed to the front lines when the time comes. We are still students, Haewon protested. We have not finished our training. You have more relevant experience than most of our officers, Velthar said quietly. The instructor looked directly at them. I did not understand what you were 2 weeks ago. I do now. The Coalition needs what you bring. Your experience, your capability, your willingness to do what must be done. Our violence, you mean, Bo-Ra said flatly. 2 weeks ago you were afraid of us. Now you want to use us? The admiral did not deny it. Yes, the Coalition has enjoyed peace because we never faced a real threat. Now we have one. And we need soldiers who understand how to fight. Hyunwoo looked at his team. They were all thinking the same thing. This was not fair. They had come to the academy to learn, to be part of something better than warfare. Now they were being asked to be weapons again. But fair or not, people were dying. The Coalition was in danger. What do you know about the Krell? Hyunwoo asked. Keston pulled up another display. They are bipedal, roughly your size. They evolved on a world similar to Earth, classified as Class 8 Death World. Early analysis suggests they are predators like you with a culture built around strength and conquest. They are like us. Nari said softly. In some ways, yes, the Admiral agreed. That is why we need you. You understand how they think, how they fight. Taman studied the display. Have you tried negotiating since the first contact? Twice, both times our diplomats were killed. The Krell do not seem interested in talking. Then they need to be stopped, Ki-young said. If negotiation is not possible, the only option is force, the Admiral nodded. Exactly. But our forces are not ready for that kind of confrontation. You are. Hyunwoo felt the weight of leadership pressing down on him. What are you asking us to do specifically? Immediate promotion to junior officer rank. You will each take charge of a mixed species squad and begin advanced combat training. You will teach them what you know about tactics, strategy, and survival in combat situations. In 4 weeks, your squads will deploy to defensive positions along the border. 4 weeks. 1 month to turn academy students into soldiers. And if we refuse? Hyunwoo asked. You are free to refuse, Keston said. We cannot force you. But understand that if you do, many coalition citizens will die, citizens who have lived their entire lives in peace and do not know how to fight to protect it. It was not really a choice. They all knew it. Hyunwoo looked at each of his team. Taemin nodded. So did Sang-ho and Ki-young. Bora just shrugged. She had always known this was coming. Haewon looked scared but determined. Only Nari hesitated. The medic looked at her hands, then at Hyunwoo. I am not a soldier. We know, Velthar said gently. You would continue your medical training, but you would be assigned to combat units. You would treat wounded soldiers on the battlefield. I took an oath to heal, not to support war. You also took an oath to help people, Hyunwoo said quietly. And people are going to get hurt. They will need you. Nari closed her eyes. When she opened them, there were tears but also resolve. Fine, but I am still a medic. I will treat everyone equally. Coalition and Krell alike. That is all we ask, the Admiral said. One by one, the humans agreed. They would help. They would fight. They would do what the coalition needed. After the meeting ended and the others left, Velthar stopped Hyunwoo at the door. I owe you an apology, the instructor said. 2 weeks ago I was frightened of what you represented. I saw your capacity for violence and thought you were dangerous. We are dangerous, Hyunwoo said. Yes, but I understand now that danger is not the same as evil. You carry a heavy burden, the capability to kill, the experience of killing, and the choice to only do it when necessary. That takes strength I did not recognize before. It takes pain, Hyunwoo corrected. Every person who is killed carries that pain. We do not enjoy it. We do not want it. But we accept it because someone has to. Velthar was quiet for a moment. The coalition built its peace on the assumption that violence was a thing of the past. We thought we had evolved beyond it. But we only delayed it. We pushed it away until we needed it again. And now we are asking you to carry that burden for all of us. That is what humans do, Hyunwoo said. We carry the hard things so others do not have to. It is not fair. It is not right. But it is what we are good at. I am sorry it has to be this way. So am I. Hyunwoo left the instructor standing in the hallway and went to find his team. They had work to do. Soldiers to train. People to protect. Death to face once again. Nari was waiting for him in the observation deck, staring at the stars like she always did when troubled. He sat beside her without saying anything. I did not raise my hand, she said quietly. I wanted to believe I was different, that I would never have to be part of violence. You are different. You are a healer, but I will be on battlefields. I will be supporting combat operations. Does that not make me part of the violence? Hyunwoo thought about this. Remember what you told the instructor? That someone needs to be the one who only heals? That is still true. The fact that you heal people in a violent place does not make you violent. It makes you brave. I do not feel brave. I feel scared. Good, that means you are still human. The day you stop being scared is the day you should worry. They sat together in silence, watching the stars. Out there somewhere, the Krell were coming. War was coming. Death was coming. And 7 humans who had raised their hands in a classroom would stand between the coalition and that darkness. Not because they wanted to. Not because it was fair, but because someone had to. And they knew how. The medic who had not raised her hand would be there too, healing the wounded, saving lives even in the midst of death, carrying her own burden in her own way. Instructor Velthar could not stop thinking about the humans. For 3 days after the private meeting, the Quillarian spent every free moment reading about Earth and its people. The Coalition database had extensive files on every member species, but Velthar had never bothered to read the complete human documentation before. Why would anyone? Humans had seemed so normal when they first joined. Now the instructor realized how wrong that assumption had been. The data was disturbing. Earth was classified as a Class 9 death world, one of the most dangerous planet types that had produced sentient life. The survival rate for other species visiting Earth without protection was estimated at less than 30%. The planet was covered in things that could kill you, predators everywhere, poisonous plants, extreme weather, diseases, natural disasters. Even the other humans were dangerous to each other. The file noted that humans had developed over 40 different ways to kill their own species, and those were just the documented methods. But what truly troubled Velthar was the cultural analysis. Every human culture, across every continent and time period, had built itself around the concept of death and killing. Their religions addressed it. Their laws controlled it. Their art depicted it. Their stories celebrated warriors and heroes who killed to protect others. The Quilarian found a section on human food culture and felt physically ill. Humans were omnivores who still ate meat. They killed billions of animals every year for food. This was considered completely normal. Children grew up eating dead animals without thinking twice about it. The instructor pulled up a comparison chart. The Quilarians had stopped eating animal products 12,000 years ago, early in their cultural development. Most coalition species were similar. A few species still consumed animal products, but it was rare and heavily regulated. Humans ate meat at almost every meal. They had entire industries built around killing animals efficiently. The scale was incomprehensible. Velthar switched to military history. This was even worse. Humans had been at war with each other almost continuously for their entire recorded history. The instructor scrolled through conflict after conflict. The names meant nothing, but the numbers were staggering. Millions dead in single wars, billions dead across their history. The most recent major conflict was called the World Wars. There had been 2 of them. The second one had killed over 70 million humans in just 6 years. The file noted that this had finally convinced humans to try harder at peace, which had led to fewer major wars in the following century. Fewer. Not none. Just fewer. The Quilarian leaned back in the chair and stared at the ceiling. How had the Coalition overlooked this? How had Earth been accepted as a member species without anyone realizing what they were bringing into the community? There was a knock on the office door. Velthar called for them to enter. Taman stood in the doorway looking uncomfortable. "Sir, you asked me to come see you." Velthar had indeed sent a request earlier. The instructor wanted to talk to one of the humans individually, someone who might explain things more clearly. Taman had seemed the most straightforward of the group. "Yes, come in. Sit down." Taman sat, his posture relaxed but alert. The instructor noticed this was a military habit. The human was constantly aware of his surroundings, ready to react to threats. Did he even realize he did this? "I have been reading about Earth," Velthar said. "About human history and culture. I need you to help me understand something." "I will try, sir." "You said you killed your first animal at age 12 for food. This is considered normal in your culture?" "In rural areas, yes, sir. In cities, not as much. But even city humans eat meat from animals that other people killed. So the act of killing is just moved away from them. They still benefit from it. This does not trouble you, taking life for food?" Taman thought for a moment. "Sir, can I ask what you eat?" "Plants. Synthesized nutrients. We have not consumed animal products for thousands of years. And before that, I do not understand. Before your people stopped eating animals, what did you eat?" Velthar paused. "I suppose we ate animals, but that was a very long time ago. We evolved past that need." "You evolved past it because you could," Taman said. "Your planet gave you enough plant options. You developed technology to synthesize what you needed. But Earth is different. We have harsh climates where plants do not grow. We have regions where hunting was the only way to survive. But you have technology now. You have synthesizers." "Yes, sir, we do. And many humans do not eat meat anymore because of that. But it is still part of our culture, part of our history. We do not see it as evil. We see it as survival." Velthar pulled up another file on the display. "What about this, your wars? Humans have killed billions of other humans throughout your history. How do you justify that?" Taman looked at the numbers and his face went sad. We do not justify it, sir. We regret it. Every culture on Earth has stories about the cost of war. We teach our children about the horrors of our past so they do not repeat them. But we also understand why those wars happened. Resources, territory, different beliefs, different needs. The Coalition has never had wars on that scale. The Coalition has hundreds of worlds to share, sir. When Earth was all we had, we fought over pieces of it. That is the reality of limited resources. The instructor stood and walked to the window. Outside, stars shined peacefully. I am trying to understand you. To understand how a species capable of such violence can also produce art and music and literature about peace and love. How you can be both things at once. Because we have to be, Taemin said simply. Sir, humans are capable of terrible violence. We know this. Our history proves it. But we are also capable of choosing not to be violent. That choice is what defines us. But 6 of you raised your hands. 6 out of 7. Yes, sir. Because we have all faced situations where violence was necessary. But ask yourself this. How many situations have we faced where violence was possible but we chose not to use it? That number is much, much higher. You just do not ask about those times. Velthar turned back to face the human. What do you mean? Every single day humans make the choice not to kill. We walk past people who annoy us and do not hurt them. We have arguments and resolve them with words instead of weapons. We see injustice and try to fix it without violence. The fact that we are capable of killing makes the choice not to kill more meaningful, not less. The instructor sat down slowly. I had not thought of it that way. Most species do not have to think of it that way. They are not capable of violence, so the choice never comes up. But humans live with that capability every day, and most of us, most of the time, choose peace. But when you do not choose peace, when we do not choose peace, we are very good at violence. Yes, sir, that is also true. Earth taught us how to survive, and sometimes surviving means fighting. Velthar was quiet for a long moment. Do you know what frightens me most about this conversation? What, sir? That you are not wrong. Everything you say makes sense from your perspective. But from my perspective, from the perspective of most coalition species, it is terrifying. You are telling me that humans are born with the capacity to kill, that you learn about killing as children, that your entire culture is built around managing this capability, and you are saying this is normal. For us it is normal, Taemin said. For you it is not. Neither of us is wrong. We are just different. But we are supposed to work together now. Earth is part of the coalition. How can we trust a species that is so comfortable with violence? Taemin leaned forward. Sir, can I tell you something honestly? Please. You have been at peace for 300 years. The coalition has never faced a real threat in all that time. You have built a society based on diplomacy and cooperation, and that is admirable. It truly is. But what happens when you meet a species that does not value diplomacy? What happens when you face a real threat? We would defend ourselves. With what? With who? Sir, I have trained with cadets from 20 different species. They are smart. They are skilled. But most of them have never faced real danger. They have never had to make life or death decisions. They have never killed. And you have. Yes, sir. All of us humans have. That does not make us better than them. But it does mean we understand something they do not. We understand what it costs to survive when survival is not guaranteed. Velthar felt a chill run through his scales. You are saying we are weak. No, sir. I am saying you are lucky. You got to evolve past the need for violence. Humanity has not gotten there yet. Maybe someday we will. But right now, we are still learning. We are still trying to be better than our history, and that means we carry our capability for violence with us, even as we try to choose peace. The instructor looked at this young human and saw something new. Not a monster, not a killer, just someone who had learned hard lessons and was trying to use them wisely. What do you hope to achieve here? Velthar asked. Why did you come to this academy? To learn how to protect people without killing them, Taemin said. To learn the coalition's ways of keeping peace. To be better than what I was before. That is what all of us humans want. To be better. And if that is not possible, if violence finds you again? Taemin met the instructor's eyes steadily. Then I will do what is necessary to protect the people I care about. 3 days passed before Instructor Velthar called them back. During those 3 days, the humans felt the change in how others treated them. Alien cadets moved to different tables in the dining hall when they sat down. Training partners requested switches. Even the friendly Quilarian students who had joked with them before now kept their distance. HFY took it the hardest. She had made friends with a Shenty named Rill, who shared her love of piloting. Now Rill would not even look at her. The young pilot spent most of her free time alone in the observation deck watching the stars. Tai-min did not seem bothered. He had always been quiet anyway. But Hyunwoo noticed the weapons specialist checking his equipment more often than necessary, keeping his hands busy. Nari continued her medical studies like nothing had changed. She attended every class, took detailed notes, and practiced her techniques. But Hyunwoo saw her eating meals alone in her quarters instead of the common areas. When the message came to report to Instructor Velthar's private office, all 7 of them went together. They had become closer in the past few days, drawn together by the isolation from everyone else. The instructor's office was small and neat. The walls displayed certificates and awards from years of service. A small plant from the Quilarian homeworld sat on the desk, its purple leaves reaching toward the light. Velthar gestured for them to sit. There were not enough chairs, so Sang-ho and Ki-young stood at the back. The instructor looked tired, like someone who had not slept well. "I have spent the last 3 days reading about your species," Velthar began. "I have reviewed Earth's history, your wars, your cultures, your evolution. I need to understand what I saw in that classroom." Hyunwoo nodded. "What did you learn, sir?" "That I know nothing about humans," the instructor said. "The reports we received when Earth joined the coalition focused on your art, your music, your literature, your desire for peace. No one mentioned the other side." "What other side?" Bora asked. She rarely spoke in groups, but something in the instructor's tone made her defensive. Velthar pulled up a display on the desk. Images appeared in the air between them. Ancient human paintings of battles. Medieval weapons. Modern soldiers. This side. The side that has been fighting since before you learned to make fire. Your entire history is written in blood. So is everyone's history, Hyunwoo said. Every species fought to survive, not like you did. Velthar changed the images. Now they showed statistics and graphs. The Quilarians had 3 major conflicts in our entire history before we achieved space travel. 3. Your species had 3 conflicts happening at the same time on different parts of your planet, constantly, for thousands of years. Earth is a big place, Tai-min said quietly. Many different groups, many different needs. But you all raised your hands, the instructor said, not just soldiers. All of you. How is that possible? Hyunwoo looked at his team. They had discussed this among themselves over the past few days, knowing this conversation would come. Sir, may I ask each of them to explain their own story? It might help you understand. Velthar nodded. Hyunwoo went first. I joined the Seoul Defense Force when I was 18. It was required service, 1 year minimum. Most people serve and never see combat. I was not that lucky. There was an insurgency in the coastal regions. Resource disputes that turned violent. My unit was sent to protect a civilian area. We were ambushed. 3 of my squad died in the first minute. I returned fire, I had to. 3 confirmed kills that day, sir. I was 19 years old. The instructor's scales had paled slightly. You were required to serve? Your government forced you into combat? Forced us to serve, sir. The combat found us on its own. Velthar turned to Tai-min. And you? You mentioned hunting. Tai-min leaned back in his chair. I grew up in a rural mountain area. No big cities nearby. My family raised animals and grew food, but sometimes that was not enough. The forest had deer, wild boar, rabbits. My father taught me to hunt when I was young. First kill was a deer, like I said. Age 12. Used my father's old rifle. We ate that meat for 2 weeks, he paused. Later, I joined the peacekeeping forces. That was different. 5 confirmed kills in various operations. All of them were people trying to hurt civilians. You see no problem with this? Velthar asked. Killing animals for food? Killing people in combat? I see many problems with it, sir, Tai-min said. But I also see my family fed. I see civilians alive. Is that wrong? Before the instructor could answer, HFY spoke up. Her voice was sharp with emotion. You want to hear about mine? I was 17, home alone with my little brother. He was 10. Someone broke in through the back door. The man had a knife and bad intentions. I had 5 seconds to decide what to do. I grabbed a kitchen knife. When he came at me, I defended myself. He died, my brother lived. The court said it was justified self-defense. But I still killed someone, sir. Does that make me a monster? Tears were running down her face now. Hyunwoo wanted to reach out to her, but they were in front of the instructor. He had to let her finish. I did not want to kill anyone, Haewon continued. I wanted to be a pilot. I wanted to explore space and see beautiful things. But that man made a choice that night, and I had to make one too. So yes, I raised my hand, because you asked who had killed, and I have. I am not proud of it. I am not ashamed of it either. It just is. Velthar was silent for a long moment. I am sorry. I did not mean to imply that you are monsters. Then what are you implying, sir? Sang-ho asked. The former police officer had been quiet until now. I am trying to understand, the instructor said. On my world, killing is so rare that we have one word for it that covers every possibility. But I learned that humans have dozens of words. Murder, execution, assassination, manslaughter, euthanasia, self-defense. Each one means something different to you. Because context matters, Sang-ho said. I was a police officer for 8 years. I had to use lethal force once. A hostage situation went wrong. The suspect was going to kill the hostage. I made the choice to take the shot. That is different from murder. The law agrees. But the weight is the same. I still ended a life, Ki-young added his story next. He had grown up on a farming cooperative where hunting was common. Then came the resource wars, regional conflicts over water and food. He served in a militia. He did what was necessary. He did not provide numbers. Bora was last. The sniper simply said, I was military. Long-range reconnaissance. I took the shots I was ordered to take. Enough of them. All I will say is that every face is still clear in my memory. I remember all of them. Velthar stood and walked to the window. The instructor stared out at the stars for a long time. Do you know what disturbs me most? It is not that you have killed. Warriors exist in every species. It is how normal this is for you. 6 out of 7 humans in this room. All from different backgrounds, all with different stories, and yet all of you have taken lives. This is not normal. It is normal for us, Hyunwoo said. Sir, humans did not choose to evolve on a death world. We did not choose to have thousands of different cultures competing for limited resources. We did not choose any of this. But we survived it. And part of surviving meant doing hard things, violent things. We are not proud of our history, but we also cannot change it. The instructor turned back to face them. And the medic? Nari, you said you took an oath, but you are surrounded by people who have killed. Does this not trouble you? All eyes turned to Nari. She had been quiet throughout the entire conversation, just listening. Now she looked at each of her fellow humans before meeting the instructor's gaze. It troubles me every day, sir, she said softly. I became a medic because I wanted to save lives. I wanted to be the person who heals, not the person who harms. But I also understand why they did what they did. I understand the world we come from. I do not judge them for their choices because I have never been in their exact situations. She paused, her hands folded in her lap. I keep my hands clean because someone needs to. Someone needs to be the one who only heals. But I know that my ability to heal is protected by people willing to fight. That is the bargain we make. Velthar sat down slowly. You are more complex than I thought. Than anyone thought. We are just humans, sir, Hyunwoo said. Nothing more, nothing less. That evening, Nari sat alone in the observation deck. The vast window showed the endless stars and the distant glow of nebulas. She liked coming here when she needed to think. The silence of space was different from the silence of a room. It felt bigger, more honest somehow. She heard footsteps behind her but did not turn around. She knew who it was. Hyunwoo always walked with a slight favor to his left leg, an old injury from his service days. Mind if I sit? He asked. It is a public space, she said. But her tone was not unkind. He sat beside her on the bench, leaving a respectful distance between them. For a while, they just watched the stars together in silence. You did not have to defend us today, Hyunwoo said finally, with the instructor. I was not defending you. I was telling the truth. Still. Thank you. Nari turned to look at him. In the dim light of the observation deck, his face looked older than his 28 years. They all looked older than they should. Earth had a way of aging people before their time. Can I ask you something? She said. Something personal? Of course. Do you regret it? The people you killed? Hyunwoo was quiet for a long time. Nari waited. She had learned that he needed time to find the right words. "I regret that it was necessary," he said. "I regret that the world put me in that position. I regret that 3 of my friends died that day, and I could not save them. But do I regret protecting the people I was sent to protect? No. Those insurgents were going to kill civilians, children. If I had not stopped them, more people would have died. So you think it was right? I think it was necessary. Right and necessary are not always the same thing." He looked at her. "Why are you asking me this?" Nari turned back to the window. "Because I need to understand. I need to know if there is a difference between you and me or if I am just lying to myself." "What do you mean?" She took a breath. This was hard to say out loud. "I told the instructor that I have never killed anyone. That is technically true. I have never pulled a trigger or held a weapon with the intent to kill." "But is that really the same as having clean hands?" Hyunwoo shifted to face her more directly. "Talk to me, Nari, what is this about?" The words came slowly at first, then faster as she let herself say things she had kept inside for years. "When I was in combat medicine training, we practiced triage. Do you know what that is? Sorting casualties by priority. Yes, in a mass casualty event you cannot save everyone. So you decide. This person gets treatment first. This person waits. This person is too far gone, so you mark them and move on." Her voice was shaking now. "You move on, Hyunwoo. You leave them to die because you have to save the ones you can save. That is not killing. That is making an impossible choice, is it? Because those people die, and I made the choice that led to their death. How is that different?" Hyunwoo was quiet. He did not have a quick answer, and she appreciated that. He was not trying to make her feel better. He was actually thinking about her question. "Tell me about a specific time," he said. "Give me an example." Nari closed her eyes. The memory was always there, always waiting. "I was 23, on my first deployment to a conflict zone. A bomb went off in a marketplace. 40 casualties. I was the only medic on site for the first 10 minutes. I had to make all the decisions." She opened her eyes but kept staring at the stars. There was a man with severe abdominal wounds. He was bleeding internally. He needed surgery immediately or he would die. Next to him was a woman with a shattered leg, treatable but painful. I had to choose who to help first. You chose the man with the abdominal wounds. I chose the woman. Her voice was flat now, emotionless, because I knew I could stabilize her quickly and then move to the next patient. The man needed too much time, too many resources. If I started on him, other people would die while I worked. So I made the choice that would save the most lives total. And the man? He died while I was working on the woman. He bled out. His last words were asking me to help him. I said I would. I lied. Hyunwoo put his hand on her shoulder. Nari, that is not murder. That is triage. You did what you were trained to do. But he is still dead because of my choice. He is dead because someone set off a bomb, not because of you. She turned to him, and there were tears in her eyes now. That is what everyone says. But I still see his face. I still hear him asking for help. And I have more stories like that. Do you want to hear them all? Only if you want to tell them. She wiped her eyes. I once withheld pain medication from an enemy soldier to keep him conscious for interrogation. He told us where his unit was hiding. That information saved my squad, but I let him suffer for it. He was an enemy combatant. He was a person in pain, and I am a healer. My oath says do no harm, but I harmed him deliberately. To save your squad. Does that make it right? Hyunwoo did not answer immediately. They sat in silence for a moment. I have another one, Nari said. My worst one. Do you want to hear it? If you need to tell it. I was deployed to a forward medical station. We got hit by artillery. The building collapsed. I was trapped in the basement with 2 patients and very limited supplies. One of them was my squad leader. The other was a civilian child, maybe 8 years old. Both had severe injuries. I only had enough supplies to treat one of them properly. She could feel her heart beating faster, the same panic she had felt in that basement flooding back. I had 30 seconds to decide. The child was smaller, easier to treat, but my squad leader had combat experience. He was valuable to the mission. The child was just a local kid who had been in the wrong place. You chose the squad leader. I chose the squad leader. The medevac came 20 minutes later. My squad leader lived. The child died from blood loss. I made the choice that was tactically correct. But a child died. Hyunwoo was silent for a long time. When he finally spoke, his voice was gentle. You did not raise your hand in that classroom because you need to believe you are different from us. You need that separation. You need to be the healer, not the killer. Am I, though? Different from you? Yes and no. He turned to look at the stars. Nari, every person in that room today made choices about life and death. We all carry that weight. The difference is in how we made those choices. I shot people who were actively trying to hurt others. You made medical decisions in impossible situations. Both lead to death, but they are not the same thing. How are they different? Intent. I picked up a weapon planning to use it. You picked up medical supplies planning to save people. That you could not save everyone does not make you a killer. It makes you human. Human, she repeated. That word means something different after today. The way Velthar looked at us, the way the other cadets avoid us now, they see us as dangerous, as violent. Maybe they are right. Maybe we are dangerous, Hyunwoo said, but we are also the ones who try not to be. That has to count for something. Nari wiped her eyes again. I became a medic because I wanted to be good. I wanted my life to mean something positive. But every choice I make seems to come with a cost. That is what it means to be responsible for life and death. There is always a cost. The question is whether you are willing to pay it. Are you willing to pay it? Hyunwoo looked down at his hands. Every single day I think about those 3 people I killed. I see their faces. I wonder who they were, if they had families, if they thought they were doing the right thing too. But I also think about the civilians who lived because I stopped those insurgents. And I think that if I had to do it again, I would make the same choice. Does that make me a good person or a bad person? I do not know, Nari said honestly. Neither do I. But I keep trying to be good anyway. That is all any of us can do. They sat together in silence, watching the stars. 2 humans far from home carrying weights that no one else seemed to understand. Finally, Nari spoke again. You said I did not raise my hand because I need to believe I am different. You are right. I do need that. If I start thinking of myself as a killer, even indirectly, I do not know if I can keep doing this job. Then do not think of yourself that way. You are a healer, Nari. The fact that you cannot save everyone does not change that. The fact that you agonize over every loss proves it. A killer does not lose sleep over their choices. Do you? Lose sleep? Every night, he said quietly. Every single night. They sat together until the station's night cycle dimmed the lights further. 2 people trying to be good in a universe that did not make it easy. The training facility floated in the darkness of space like a silver coin tossed among the stars. Inside, 40 cadets from 12 different species sat in neat rows, waiting for their instructor to begin the lesson. The room smelled strange to Hyunwoo, a mix of different alien scents that he still had not gotten used to after 3 months at the academy. Instructor Velthar stood at the front of the class. The Quilarian looked like a tall lizard that had learned to walk on 2 legs, with green scales that caught the light and large eyes that seemed to see everything. Velthar had been teaching combat ethics for 15 years and had trained thousands of students from across the galaxy. Hyunwoo sat with the other human cadets in the middle section. There were 7 of them total in this class. To his right sat Taimin, a quiet man with tired eyes who rarely smiled. On his left was Haewon, the youngest of their group who still got excited about everything in space. Behind him, Nari organized her medical supplies, always prepared for any emergency. The others were scattered nearby. The instructor began speaking in the common galactic language that everyone had to learn. Today we discuss the weight of taking a life. War is not a game. Combat is not entertainment. When you fight, you must understand what it means to end another being's existence. The alien students listened carefully. Some took notes on their data pads. Others simply watched the instructor with their various types of eyes. Velthar walked slowly between the rows of seats. This is not an easy topic. Many of you will never face this choice. The coalition has been at peace for 300 years, but you must be prepared for the possibility. The instructor stopped at the center of the room and turned to face all the students. Let me ask you a question. It is a simple question, but it requires an honest answer. In this room, who among you has taken a sentient life? Silence filled the space. The students looked at each other, uncertain. Hyunwoo knew what he had to do. He had been asked this question before in other forms. He raised his hand without hesitation. Around him he heard movement. Taemin's hand went up, then Haewon's. He glanced back and saw Bo Ra, Sang-ho, and Ki-young all raising their hands as well. 6 hands in the air, he looked at Nari. The medic's hand stayed down. She stared straight ahead, her face calm but her jaw tight. The room had gone completely silent. Hyun-woo could feel dozens of alien eyes staring at them. He kept his hand up, steady and firm. Instructor Velthar's eyes widened. The Quillarian took a step back, clearly surprised. In all the years of teaching, this had never happened. Maybe 1 or 2 soldiers from warrior species would raise their appendages. Never 6 out of 7 from the same species. Never humans who were supposed to be one of the more peaceful races. A Shanti student, who looked like a floating jellyfish with tentacles, made a sound of distress. One of the Krathun warriors, a massive bear-like creature, leaned forward to get a better look at the humans. "You may lower your hands," Velthar said quietly. The instructor's voice had changed. It was no longer the confident tone of a teacher. It was the careful voice of someone who had just discovered something disturbing. Hyun-woo lowered his hand. So did the others. They sat in silence while the rest of the class whispered to each other in their various languages. Velthar composed himself and continued the lesson, but the instructor kept glancing at the human section. The energy in the room had shifted. The other students kept looking over at them like they were dangerous animals that might attack at any moment. When the class finally ended, Velthar spoke before anyone could leave. "The human cadets will remain here. The rest of you are dismissed." The other species left quickly, still whispering. Some of them actually moved away from the humans as they passed, giving them extra space. Haewon looked hurt by this. Taemin just looked tired. When the room was empty except for the 7 humans and the instructor, Velthar sat on the edge of the desk at the front. The Quillarian studied them for a long moment. "I need to understand," the instructor said. "This is not normal. In 15 years of teaching this class, I have never seen this. Explain to me what happened." Hyun-woo stood up. As the squad leader, this was his responsibility. "Sir, you asked an honest question. We gave an honest answer. But all of you?" Velthar's voice rose slightly. "Except the medic? What kind of species are you?" "Human, sir," Hyun-woo said simply. "That is not an answer." Hyun-woo took a breath. How could he explain this? How could he make this alien understand something that humans just accepted as normal? "Sir, we come from a difficult planet. Earth is classified as a Class 9 death world. Everything there is dangerous. Everything fights to survive. Humans are part of that world. We evolved by hunting, by fighting, by killing when we had to. So did many species," Velthar said. "But they did not all raise their hands." Taemin spoke up from his seat. "With respect, sir, I do not think they did it the same way we did. My first kill was a deer. I was 12 years old. My family needed food. Later I served in the military. That was different, but the act was the same." "You killed at 12? The instructor looked horrified. "For food, sir. It is normal where I come from." Velthar turned to Haewon. "And you? You are so young." Haewon's face went hard. "Someone broke into my home when I was 17. He had a knife. My little brother was there. I did what I had to do." The instructor looked at each of them in turn. "All of you have stories like this?" They nodded. Velthar looked at Nari, who had remained silent. "And you, medic? You did not raise your hand. Why?" Nari met the instructor's gaze. Her voice was steady and clear. "I took an oath, sir. First, do no harm. I am a healer. My hands save lives, they do not take them. But the others?" Velthar gestured at the 6 humans who had raised their hands. "They are your people, your species. Does this not disturb you?" Nari was quiet for a moment. When she spoke, her voice was soft. "They do what they must. I do what I must. We are all trying to be good people, sir. That is all any of us can do." The instructor stood and walked to the window that looked out into space. The stars shone cold and distant. "I do not understand you humans. The Coalition invited Earth to join us because your people seemed kind, curious, eager to explore and learn. But now I see something else beneath that surface." Hyun-woo stepped forward. "Sir, we are those things, kind, curious, eager to learn. But we are also survivors. We come from a world that taught us hard lessons. That does not make us monsters. It makes us human." Velthar turned back to face them. "You are dismissed. But this conversation is not over. I need time to think about what I have learned today." The 7 humans filed out of the room in silence. In the hallway, other cadets moved away from them. The humans walked together back to their quarters, a small group surrounded by suspicion and fear. That night, Hyunwoo could not sleep. He kept thinking about the look in Veltar's eyes. The instructor had been afraid. Not of violence or weapons, but of them, of what humans were capable of. He wondered if coming to space had been a mistake. Maybe humans were not ready to be part of the galactic community. Maybe they would always be the scary ones, the dangerous ones, the species that everyone else feared. Or maybe, he thought, everyone else just had not needed to learn the lessons that Earth had taught humanity. Maybe that was not humanity's fault. He did not have an answer. None of them did.